Senate President Mr. David Mark has warned lawmakers that the report of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee investigating the privatization activities of the BPE is a very sensitive one and there will be a lot of pressure. He said this as the Senate stepped down the debate on the report till Wednesday the 30th to allow lawmakers to study the report properly. Senator Mark assured Nigerians that the Senate would be patriotic and ensure that politics and ethnicity do not come to play in considering the report. After plenary session, Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee investigating the privatization activities of the BPE from 1999 to date, Senator Ahmed Lawan, said some members of the Ad Hoc Committee were under pressure during their investigations and even received death threats. He, however, said although the Senate would pass the recommendations, it is up to the executive to implement them.
All appears normal at the office of the Bureau of Public Enterprise BPE in Abuja. But the organization is right at the center of the storm of the Senate's investigation into the country's privatization and commercialization activities. The BPE is charged with the overall responsibility of implementing the Nigerian policy on privatization and commercialization. But public outcry over the non-performance levels of privatized public enterprises prompted the Senate to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the privatization activities of the BPE from 1999 to date. The ad hoc committee, after its investigations, presented the much-anticipated report at the floor of the Senate. Chairman of the committee read out the recommendations in the report, one of which called for the sack of the Director General of the BPE.
That the former Directors General, Malam Nasru El-Rufai, Dr. Julius Bala, Mrs. Arin Nkechi Chugbe, should be reprimanded by the National Council on Privatization for seeking approval directly from the President instead of the NCP as stipulated in the Public Enterprise Act of 1999.
As he read out more recommendations, lawmakers signaled their approval or otherwise. The committee recommended that the National Council on Privatization should revoke the sale of Daily Times Nigeria PLC, Transcorp Hilton, Sheraton Hotels and Towers, and Nikon Luxury Hotel.
That the sales of assets of Daily Times of Nigeria PLC by Folio Communications Limited and its director should be investigated by anti-graft agencies and the sole assets recovered for government.
The committee also recommended that the NCP revoke the sale of Just Steel Rolling Mills, Alscon and Delta Steel Company. Done with the presentation of the report, Senate President David Mark postponed the debate on the report to Wednesday, the 30th of November.
I want to urge my very distinguished colleagues that this is a very sensitive report and there will be a lot of pressure.
Speaking afterward to journalists, Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee explained why the committee recommended the sack of a DG of BPE.
During the public hearing, we asked Bolale, were you contemplating selling 5% equity of the federal government shares in LMA Petrochemicals Limited? And she said no, there was nothing like that.
When contacted, BPE spokesperson Mr. Chukwuma Nwoko said he had no comments. Beyond presenting a report on the privatization activities of the BPE, observers would be watching keenly how far-reaching the recommendations of the report would go. Linda Kigbe, Channels Television News.